and a very warm welcome to Bharata First. You're watching Big Picture with me, Frank Rosen Pereira. Since you're here, I would like to thank you for your continued support. For those of you who haven't already subscribed, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then all notifications. Do subscribe to our newsletter to get some incisive content. The Bharata First team runs a Big Picture quiz. Please participate by going through the description in Big Picture videos. If you like our content, please contribute to keep it alive. The links are in the description. Let me also take this opportunity to inform you about Bharata First Knowledge Center, an initiative that will help each one of you in your competitive exams and transform the way you learn. Go to kc.bharatafirst.com for more details and register now. Experience a whole new way of gaining knowledge. All this information, along with some must-see recommendations, are in the description of the video. Please go through it. And now, on to our discussion. The National Testing Agency last week notified that the center's decision to implement 27% OBC non-creamy layer reservation and 10% EWS reservation in 15% all India quota seats will take effect from the 2021-22 academic session for medical entrance exam NEET UG. The government on July 29th had announced quota for other backward classes and economically weaker section category in the All India quota scheme for undergraduate and postgraduate medical and dental courses from the current academic year 2021-22. The National Testing Agency said that its information bulletin stands modified based on the new reservation structure for admission to undergraduate medical courses under All India quota. This will comprise of 15% for scheduled castes, 7.5% for scheduled tribes, 27% for OBC non-creamy layer according to the central list, 10% for EWS category, and 5% for persons with disabilities. In this edition of Big Picture, we will analyze the revised quota for NEET admissions. Joining me on the program today are P.K. Malhotra, former Law Secretary, Government of India, Ashok Thakur, former HRD Secretary, Government of India, and Ganapati Subramaniam, Chief of Bureau, Pudhya Thalaimurai. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on this edition of Big Picture. Mr. Malhotra, let me start the program with you first. Let's get your thoughts on this issue of revised quota as far as NEET admissions are concerned.
Frank, this quota under the NEET, I think this was long overdue when reservation has been made in other courses. I'm not sure why this was not implemented so far as the NEET All India exam is concerned for the medical classes, for the medical courses. And so far as the quota for the socially and educationally backward classes is concerned, it goes without saying that it is a constitutional mandate. And obviously, I have other experts with me who will be talking on this, but I would like to confine myself first to the constitutional provision which mandate this kind of quota to be prescribed. If we talk about the preamble of the Constitution, it talks about the justice, social, economic, and political, and it also talks about the equality of status and opportunity. And this principle has been given effect under Article 15 and 16 of the Constitution under the Fundamental Rights chapter, and also under Article 38 and Article 46 of the Constitution under directive principle of state policy, where the state is mandated to protect the interest of those socially and educational backward communities who cannot take care of their own interest. And it is only when the special provision are these made for these classes that these communities can progress and the actual goal of equality we can achieve. Now, to give effect to this, way back in 1953, the first commission was constituted, and I think it's a recommendation, Kelkar Committee, its recommendations were not implemented. But thereafter, the Mandal Commission, BP Mandal Commission, which was constituted, its recommendation was given effect by the VPC government in 1990, and 27% seats were reserved for the OBC in educational institution, and provisions were made in the Constitution also. And the Supreme Court, while interpreting Article 15(4) or 16(4), which makes specific provision for reservation for the educationally, socially, and educationally backward classes, the Supreme Court, while interpreting this provision, has categorically said that this is not an exception to the main provision, Article 15(1) or 16(1). Rather, it is part of that section. So I think this is a mandate which is given to us by the Constitution. And when this reservation was made after the Mandal Commission report was implemented, it was challenged in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in Indira Sani case, 9 judges bench in the year 1992 decided in favor of this reservation, that this is constitutionally permissible and it should be done even in the educational institutions also. Although it was implemented in other educational institutions, but so far as medical courses are concerned, it was not implemented. The present government has taken a call on this and they have implemented this quota system, not only for the OBCs, but it has also implemented for the economically weaker sections of the society, which is a mandate or a new class which has been constituted. And I think it is a step in the right direction, because we are a democratic country where we believe in equality of all persons who are governed by the Constitution and the rule of law. And I think that is a step in the right direction which government has taken.
Absolutely. All right. So, Mr. Thakur, let me bring you into the picture now. Let's talk about, what was the reservation policy followed so far? How has it really helped with regards to NEET and the other examinations, and what changes from now on?
Well, I will try to give you some historic perspective to the entire talk.
Absolutely.
Because I was a secretary in the Ministry of MHRD quite some time back. And in fact, when I joined the ministry in 2008, I found the ministry in full turmoil, trying to implement firstly the reservation for the SC, ST, and this thing, because till then reservation was only for jobs. It was not for education institutions. For the first time, Government of India decided. Arjun Singh ji was the minister at that time, HRD, and I remember very, very clearly how he had like gone hammer and tongs to get it implemented, and we all used to work hell of a lot for that. So apart from making reservations in higher education institutions for SC, ST, for the first time, they got this act which was called the Central Education Institutions Reservation in Admissions Act in 2007 itself. So from 2008 onwards, we were like I said, we were busy implementing it. By this act, apart from SC, ST students, reservation was also given to OBC students throughout central government funded institutions, both technical and otherwise. There were about 130 odd institutions, I remember. It was a mammoth task that time, actually. And unlike the present one, where there is no increase in seat as such, that time there was 33% increase. The capacity had to be increased. In the present case, it is more of readjustment or reallocation of seats. But that time we created 33% more seats. So it was a mammoth exercise, and fund requirements were also huge. In comparison, this time, the entire exercise is limited basically to the state government medical and dental colleges for their all India quota portion. So therefore, the task is much smaller actually, and also the relative demand for funds and creation of infrastructure is also much less this time. But yes, overall, it is a very nice step. It is something which should have been done actually at that time itself. But जैसे कहते हैं देर आई दुरुस्त आई, it is a good step which is basically correcting what should have been done at that point.
Right, absolutely. It should have been done in 2008 itself, but at least it is done now in 2021. So it's better late than never, is what the panelists are suggesting. Yes. So, Ganapathy Subramanian, let me come across to you now. So, let's talk about what are the circumstances that led to this decision, because I know there was a lot of pressure from your home state of Tamil Nadu, and Tamil Nadu has been pushing for this for quite some time now.
Exactly. You are absolutely true. This move may not have materialized now, but for the pressure from Tamil Nadu, especially the ruling party now, the DMK, had filed a petition in the Madras High Court and pursued the case very vigorously. Everybody, including the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, was very particular that this should be done. See, the current reservation is not for all medical college seats. This is only in the case of medical colleges run by the state governments, and that too only a portion of that. All state governments reserve 15% of the UG seats for all India quota and 50% of the PG seats for all India quota. This is to enable students from one state to get admission in another state, a medical college which is located in another state, which was not working out. People were insisting on domicile class, and that was preventing students from one state to go into medical college run by a state government in another state. This All India quota was the only one which did not have this 27% OBC reservation. This reservation was available in all other categories. So therefore, DMK went to court saying that how come only this one is exempted from the quota requirement? Therefore, this quota should be implemented. So 27% quota was implemented because of the pressure from the Madras High Court and the petitioner, which is the DMK. And at the same time, the central government has also included the 10% EWS quota, that is for economically weaker sections. So together, this has been done now. So like other panelists mentioned, Mr. Malhotra and Mr. Thakur, that this was a long overdue step because this was the only group where the quota system was not implemented. Now it has been implemented, and Tamil Nadu is now saying that we will go one step further and say that 27% is not enough. Like in Tamil Nadu, the quota reservation is the highest, as you know very well, and they want the reservation for OBCs to go much higher. They are not much interested in the 10% EWS, which is the priority of the central government. But the state government of Tamil Nadu and DMK are going to now say that the 27% should be increased to 50%, because Tamil Nadu is the only state which has a mandate to have a higher quota, highest all over India. So therefore, they are going to insist on this for this particular quota as well. And therefore, this is a battle which has been half won according to them. And they're going to fight further for enhancing this quota, Frank.
Absolutely. Okay. So now this is where the real big problem is, Mr. Malhotra. So when will it stop? Where will it stop? What will be the limit? Because the political parties are going to continue to push this, because for them it is all about political agenda setting. So from a legal perspective, Mr. Malhotra, do you see an end to this? Do you see the courts finally intervening? Because this limit or this cap is not going to stop. Political parties are going to push for more. Secondly, a broader discussion, a broader debate on, do we need multiple layers of reservation? Where does reservation start and where should it end?
I think that's a very, very difficult question to answer straightforward, because the reservation, as I said, is for achieving the constitutional goals of social, economic, and political justice, and also providing equality of status as well as opportunity. And if that you have to do, then according to the system which we have adopted, probably a reservation is one of the methods which can be adopted. And those who have read the Indira Sahni judgment in detail, they may be knowing all the pros and cons of reservation, and putting a cap of 50% in the judgment itself has been explained. It's not that the court was not aware about the total population of the country or the population of the OBC or the SCs and ST, but somewhere you have to stop. You cannot go for 100% kind of reservation. And recently the judgment of the Supreme Court in Maratha reservation in Maharashtra, I think the Supreme Court has already commented on it. And not only that, even when you declare a particular community as OBC, then there are certain yardsticks and norms to be followed, which have been laid down either under the Mandal Commission report or in the other reports which government has been obtaining from time. In addition, the specialized body, that is the National Commission on Backward Commission, which is now a constitutional body, which earlier used to be governed by the Act of 1993, and now it is a constitutional body under Article 338B of the Constitution. Its mandate is to be obtained. If the National Commission for Backward Classes is not declaring a particular class as an OBC, then probably there is a problem. And the same thing happened in the case of Ram Singh versus Union of India, where in 2015, 2014, the then government made reservation for Jat communities in certain states, which was struck down by the Supreme Court, saying that since the National Commission for Backward Classes has not recommended this kind of reservation, probably central government cannot make it, although it has a power. But there must be some basis for making this kind of reservation. If they don't deserve it, there are people who are flourishing, then probably this kind of reservation is not required. And this also brings me back to the creamy layer concept also, which has been discussed in the Indira Sahni case, and that creamy layer this thing status has also been implemented by the government of India through various orders issued from time to time. And who will fall within the creamy layer? The yardsticks and the parameter has been laid down from time to time on the basis of recommendations made by the Commission and the decision taken by the government of India.
Absolutely.
Now, 50% reservation, which you are talking about, this is again by judgment of the court. There is no statutory provision prescribing this limitation. So in case there is a justification, I think a day may come when court may review this 50% quota also. And as we see, this economically weaker section reservation which has been made, probably by making 10% reservation for the economically weaker section, you've already exceeded the 50% quota for SC, ST and OBC. So there may be other situations also which may arise. So interpretation of the Constitution itself is, I think, a dynamic interpretation which the Supreme Court gives from time to time. And reason for such an interpretation is because we take a Constitution not only as a law alone, but it is fundamental in the governance of the country, and probably its interpretation must achieve the objective which is given in the preamble of the Constitution. So 50%, as I said, is not sacrosanct, but for the time being, we are required to follow it because the Supreme Court has laid down that law. And if the Parliament want to make another law, if there is a justification for that, and it is not violating any of the fundamental rights of the other, and it falls within the reasonable restriction, I don't see why that limit cannot be enhanced at a later stage.
Absolutely. All right. So, Mr. Thakur, coming back to you now, let me go back to a point that you were making earlier in the program, during your opening remarks about how this time around the seats have not been increased. It's only about a readjustment, and Mr. Malhotra was talking about population as well. Let's not forget, our population has grown many-fold since 2008 to 2021. Is there a need for the number of seats to be increased as well? How can we increase it? Should it be done proportionally? Let's not forget, NEET deals with the medical and dental as well. So we have a shortage of doctors too as a whole, and we've seen that the pandemic has brought that more to the fore. Is there a legitimate demand for increasing of seats?
I personally feel that the health ministry over the years, somehow, maybe because of the views of Medical Council of India, etc., the requirement of seats in this country has been artificially kept suppressed for some reason. If you make a comparison with the AICT, which is the counter regulatory authority for engineering, they have more than my latest figures, if I have it with me, yes, they have 16 lakh seats every year. AICT had 14 to 16 lakh seats over the years. It used to be about 16 lakh seats, but now because of the economy slowing down, etc., it has come down to about 14 lakhs. Still, compare this with the number of seats which we have today in the medical sector for MBBS. It is just around 80,000 versus you see
14 lakhs.
14 lakhs, which I mentioned to you. So there is no comparison. So it is very important that the government of India should make the cake grow large. Redistribution is very good. They've done a good step by taking the socially responsible steps. But I think the most important issue in the medical sector, as you rightly pointed out, the problems we had during the pandemic, extreme shortage of doctors. Our students have to go to China, learn Chinese. Our students have to go to Russia, learn Russian. Why can't we create more seats in this country? This is a crying need, and I think unless we give all our attention to kind of expanding the cake, let the cake grow. I think unless we do that, we will be failing to meet the challenges of the country very seriously. So we have about, as of now, we have about 289 state government medical colleges in the country. So I think we drastically need to think and increase them. And intrinsically, people don't realize, but the medical colleges are intrinsically linked to the universities, because the degree giving power is not with the Ministry of Health. It is with the universities. So it is very, very important that whatever initiative or other things are being done in the universities by expanding seats, same thing should mutus mutandi apply to the medical colleges as well, and they should scale up this number of seats to meet the challenges which we presently face. I think it is very, very important. Redistribution is good, very good, but we also need to increase the cake overall. Very important.
Absolutely. So, Ganapathy Subramaniam, taking the aspect forward that Mr. Thakur has raised, is it possible? Is it doable? That is first and foremost. Increasing number of seats, has that been attempted? Secondly, how big an issue is this issue of NEET, quota, and admissions in Tamil Nadu? And does it have a direct impact on the people and the politics of Tamil Nadu?
Absolutely. First of all, the second question first, the political equation is that earlier students on the basis of their 12th standard marks used to be selected for the medical colleges. So the state board students had an advantage in that. Now, because of the NEET entrance examinations, it is felt that students who are from the CBSE stream are better equipped. They get better marks in the NEET entrance exam and they are able to get through, while state government board students struggle. This may be true in the case of many boards. But again, the counter question was that, what about merit? Probably these students are more meritorious that they are getting in through the medical entrance exam. And maybe even state board students, if they are very good academically, they will be able to get into medical colleges. But I would completely agree with your suggestion and the views of Mr. Thakur that the overall cake should be increased. See, central government is now trying to set up AIIMS institutions in various states. State government should also be encouraged to set up more medical college, because with each medical college, we will also set up a hospital. So we will have more hospitals, more medical colleges, better infrastructure, and more doctors. That is what your suggestion is all about, which is absolutely right. Because now there are medical colleges which are run by private institutions. There are medical colleges run by state governments. There are medical colleges run by the central government. And there are so many categories and subcategories within this. And you asked about Tamil Nadu, where they are saying that people, students from the rural areas are finding it difficult to crack the NEET entrance exam and get in, while affluent students from cities are able to go into coaching centers, pay a lot of money and get good coaching and get into a NEET exam. So there is again a social justice question comes into play. So if the number of medical colleges in the country are increased, number of hospitals in the country are increased, it will benefit us with the twin purpose. One, medical infrastructure will be good. All of us will be able to get affordable medical treatment in the government institutions. Plus, they will also be able to train more and more doctors, which will not only fulfill the requirements of India, but also that of many other countries. You know very well that doctors in the Gulf, African countries, even America are mostly from India. Now, why should Indian students go to China or Russia or Indonesia to study medicine and then from there come back to India, work here and then go to other countries? Like we can ourselves create doctors just like we create engineers. So therefore, the cake should go up and the political fight should ultimately result in the larger goal of expanding India's medical infrastructure and also the capability to produce. Why should we produce only 80,000 doctors every year? Why should we not produce 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs or 5 lakh doctors every year? Which will be very good for everybody, because the demand is growing every year and we should not be artificially suppressed. So therefore, I would agree with your suggestion that the pie should be increased and The political fights over which quota, how much, here, there, what is the quota for SC, ST, etc. should be, become irrelevant once we expand the total number of seats. Why should STs be restricted only to 7.5% quota? Why can't they get more? Why should SCs be restricted to only 15%? That will be a very small number. But once we increase the number of medical colleges and the number of hospitals, then the number will grow much larger. Then all these quota fights will become completely irrelevant. So that should be the larger goal of the central government as well as the state governments.
Okay. Right then, it's time to get quick closing comments from all my panelists with the best way forward. Starting first with you, Mr. Malhotra.
Frank, today we have discussed two issues. One is the increasing medical seats and medical infrastructure in the country. I think that is a much larger issue, and probably all of us need to deal with it. And there probably cannot be two opinions that we need more number of doctors, we need more infrastructure, we need more medical colleges. And for whatever need to be done, it should be a combined effort, not only of the state government and the central government, but also of the private sector, because private sector is now coming in a big way in all field of education. So I think medical education is also, their role becomes very, very important. The second issue which we are discussing is, which arose because of the recent decision of the government to make a reservation for OBC classes and the economically weaker sections classes in the NEET examination, which is held for the medical courses. So I think on the second issue, probably an issue may arise with regard to, and I was reading some of the newspaper where they were saying, probably, and there was an opposition saying that probably it will be compromising with the quality of the medical education. And I think this kind of observation is probably totally misplaced, because the way teaching is done in the colleges, if we have good infrastructure in the colleges, if we have a good teaching faculty in the colleges, then probably making 5%, 2%, 3% difference in marks of a student doesn't make much difference. And probably this is a step in the right direction. And I think a thing which should have been done long back, or rather the kind of injustice which was being done to the OBC classes by not making reservation for them in NEET examination, that injustice now has been done away with. And I think this is a step in the right direction. I fully support that.
Absolutely. Mr. Thakur.
Yes, I agree with both my colleagues. And we all concluded that this OBC reservation is something which should have been done many, many years back. But it has been done now, so it's a good thing. But I still feel that whatever was done in the MHRD ministry, in the education sector generally, in 2008 should be repeated here. That time there was an increase of budget. The budget increased 8 times at that time. That's why we created so many new IITs, so many new IIMs, so many new central universities. Similar kind of investment should be made in education in the health sector, so that we had a whole lot of government-sponsored medical colleges throughout the country, and that will eventually benefit the country in a very, very big way.
Absolutely. And Ganapathy Subramaniam, close the show for us with your concluding remarks.
Frank, just before this All India quota reservation was decided, then called the education minister and the health minister and said that this issue should not linger on, included as early as possible. Within 2 days, the decision was taken and announced. Similar priority should be attached in this COVID situation to expand medical infrastructure all over India in a big way. We should set a target for the next 5 years. Every state government should set up at least 5 new hospitals and medical colleges along with it. State government should be supported by the center with at least couple of medical colleges and hospitals in each and every state, and wherever it is required, more. Like for example, UP, Bihar, Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal require much larger boost to the medical infrastructure. Maybe Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka does not require so much boost up because they already have a good infrastructure. This should be kept in mind. Center and state should work together, boost the budget over the next 5 years, and at least double the infrastructure and the capability that we have now. That will, do the country a great service in all the years to come, over the next 50 years. That is my humble opinion.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you so much for joining me on the program and putting things into perspective for us. Well, what's coming out of this discussion is that the revised quota for NEET admissions is a long overdue move and a step in the right direction. It should have been done when the larger exercise was carried out in 2008 itself. The move, however, has only readjusted seats and not increased them. There are only 80,000 medical seats, but around 15 lakh engineering seats. This needs a serious relook. The pandemic has shown us that we are in dire need of medical seats and colleges, and this will address both the problems of infrastructure and shortage of doctors. Since medical seats will be increased as well as number of colleges to go up, it will address both the problems of having more hospitals as well as doctors, because with medical colleges come hospitals as well, and when there are hospitals, doctors too will come there. The budget of education in the health sector also needs to be increased to meet our present needs. Well, before I go, once again, I would like to thank you for your continued support. For those of you who haven't already subscribed, please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and then all notifications. Do subscribe to our newsletter to get some incisive content. The Bharat First team runs a big picture quiz. Please participate by going through the description in big picture videos. If you like our content, please contribute to keep it alive. The links are in the description. Let me also take this opportunity to inform you about Bharat First Knowledge Center, an initiative that will help each one of you in your competitive exams and just transform the way you learn. Go to kc.bharatafirst.com for more details and register now. Experience a whole new way of gaining knowledge. All this information along with some must-see recommendations are in the description of the video. Please go through it. That's it from me. See you again next time.